If you're following Depp vs. Heard, I'm sure you know Amber Heard lost the case in Virginia to Johnny Depp for defamation. A verdict came out, but it seems like there's going to be a slightly different outcome according to what I'm seeing here. This is from the Daily Mail, and also Amber posted on Instagram for the first time in a long time. She posted on social media. But first, let's see the article. Amber Heard agrees to pay Johnny Depp $1 million. Actress says, "I never chose this," and tells fans, "My life as I knew it was destroyed by social media vilification," as her insurers pay ex-husband settlement in defamation lawsuit. Let's see what we got. Johnny Depp and ex-wife Amber Heard have finally settled their defamation claims against each other, putting an end to the most bitter Hollywood divorce in modern times. I thought the verdict was the verdict, but it seems like some other deal went on behind the scenes. The pair's lawyers have thrashed out a deal which will see Heard's insurance company pay Depp $1 million. So what happens to the other $9 million? Not quite sure. But in an important victory for the actress, there are no restrictions about what she can talk about in regard to the case, and she has accepted no guilt, Mail Online can reveal. But I'm confused because the whole thing was about her talking about Johnny and defaming him, so now she could say things defamatory? If she says things that aren't true about what happened, isn't that defamatory? Or maybe she could say things about what came out in the case. I'm not totally sure. It's a bit complex, but from what I get, she's got a pretty wide scope of things she's allowed to talk about. The pair have been locked in a legal battle on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean over the last 6 years after Heard alleged she was the victim of domestic violence during their 15-month marriage. They go on to say she won in London but lost in the US. We've heard that over and over, and they give some details about the original verdict. And a source tells Mail Online, an inside source supposedly, Amber's now looking forward to moving on with her life as she planned to do 6 years ago. She wants to put this unfortunate episode behind her and turn to what she loves in life, her career, her family, and her causes. So now, let's get into her statement that she put out on Instagram. Here it is from her Instagram page. "After a great deal of deliberation, I have made a very difficult decision to settle the defamation case brought against me by my ex-husband in Virginia. It's important for me to say that I never chose this. I defended my truth, and in doing so, my life as I knew it was destroyed. The vilification I have faced on social media is an amplified version of the ways in which women are re-victimized when they come forward." So she's trying to blame things that fans said on social media, proof they put out there from years ago, instead of taking any responsibility for herself. It's just blame, 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 blame anyone that she can. "Now I finally have an opportunity to emancipate myself from something I attempted to leave over 6 years ago, and on terms I can't agree to. I have made no admission. This is not an act of concession. There are no restrictions or gags with respect to my voice moving forward." And let me note, I really, really do not like the phrase "my truth." There's the truth and only the truth. People use that as a way of saying, I said something nobody believed that's true, is what they're saying by that, but you've got to prove what's true. All right, let's move on. "I make this decision having lost faith in the American legal system, where my unprotected testimony served as entertainment and social media fodder, of course." Look, we live in a world now that's online, and when you go duty in a bed and you say your dog stepped on a bee, and you put ice cream on Johnny's lap and take a picture and say he did it and things like that, of course people are going to make fun of that. Of course jokes are going to come out. It happens to every celebrity. Well, every celebrity who gets into some kind of a situation. And it goes on and on. "When I stood before a judge in the UK, I was vindicated by a robust, impartial, and fair system where I was protected from having to give the worst moments of my testimony in front of the world's media, and where the court found that I was subjected to domestic and sexual violence. Always the US's fault. It's the US legal system. The US is bad. I hate my country," all this kind of thing. Well, I think it's pretty good. Is it perfect? No. But a lot of times it works. In the US, however, I exhausted almost all my resources in advance of and during a trial in which I was subjected to a courtroom in which abundant direct evidence that corroborated my testimony was excluded, and in which popularity and power mattered more than reason and due process. There it is. In the interim, I was exposed to a type of humiliation that I simply cannot relive. Even if my US appeal is successful, the best outcome would be a retrial where a new jury would have to consider the evidence again. I simply cannot go through that for a third time because they'll consider the evidence in the same way the first jury did and find that I actually defamed Johnny. So, of course, you're not going to go through that again. And it keeps going. Time is precious, and I want to spend my. Sorry, I got out of character for a second there. Let's get back into character. Time is precious, and I want to spend my time productively and purposefully. For too many years, I've been caged in an arduous and expensive legal process, which has shown itself unable to protect me and my right to free speech. Okay, she did not write this, because when she speaks, she does not use words like that, and it's like really tight grammar. But again, I can't prove it, just my silly opinion. I cannot afford to risk an impossible bill, one that is just not financial, but also psychological, physical, and emotional. Women shouldn't have to face abuse or bankruptcy for speaking her truth, but unfortunately, it is not uncommon. And to be honest, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the first case I've heard of where a woman came out and faced bankruptcy for saying she was abused. Can anyone down there in the comments leave me any other case we know of where a woman became bankrupt for allegations? Maybe I'm wrong. In settling this case, I am also choosing the freedom to dictate my time to the work that helped me heal after my divorce, work that exists in realms in which I feel seen, heard, and believed, and in which I know I can affect change, of course. And it continues. I'd like to thank my outstanding appellate and original trial teams for their relentless hard work. I want to thank everyone who has supported me, and I turn my attention to the growing support that I've felt and seen publicly in the months since trial and the efforts that have been made to show solidarity with my story. Any survivor knows that they could look at me and they could tell that what I'm saying is not completely truthful. Wait, that's not what it says. Hold on. Any survivor knows that the ability to tell their story often feels like the only relief, and I cannot find enough words to tell you the hope your belief in me inspires, not just for me, but for all of you, all 8 of you who answered my Instagram post. But I know she shuts off comments and picks the one she wants, or something like that. Like this one here from Eve Barlow. Love you always, my warrior friend. And she ends it with thank you, see you soon. Whatever that means. I'm assuming she thinks she's going to be back in the biz, making movies. Maybe she'll make an album. Maybe she'll join a band. Maybe she'll write some songs about this. Maybe she'll make postcards or stickers or stamps. I guess she could talk about the case now. Anyway, that's the gist of it. There's a lot to absorb here, so maybe I got a little detail wrong, something like that, especially with the money, with the verdict, but it's pretty clear. It says pay Johnny Depp $1 million with no mention of the other 9. And if that's the case, looks like a lot of us were right. If that's the case, she got off without any serious punishment. I mean, you can't count what people think about her. I'm talking punishment legally and from corporations and employers and things like that. So far, it doesn't seem so bad. Seems like the slap on the wrist we predicted. Let me know what you think down below. Doing shoutouts, special thanks, things like that. If you're not subscribed here, well, consider it. If you don't consider it and don't subscribe, I'll be pretty sad about it, but I'll get over it. See you next time.